It's time for our AEW All In London 2024 predictions. Did it work this time? It worked this time. I'm Lugo DAD. I'm joined by Oliver Davis, and in studio we are joined by Dave Meltzer and Bryan Alvarez from beautiful Bothell, Washington, of the Wrestling Observer and Figure 4 Online. Thank you guys so much for joining us today.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much. It's awesome to have you guys in studio. Are you guys excited for All In?
Yeah, pretty excited.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty good show. It's pretty interesting. It's going to be a pretty interesting day because there's just like a lot of stuff going on with AEW. I mean, it's the most important time in their history. The next, whenever the big story breaks, and then just a couple of other things that are going on. So, yeah, I'm really interested to see how it all falls out.
Well, if you have any questions you want to ask of us, if you want to get your thoughts in for AEW All In 2024, WrestleTalk.com/support is the link to click. And if you are in the mood for clicking links, there is a link in the video description down below for Bryan and Dave's live Q&A show that they are doing on Sunday morning. You can tell us a little bit about it.
We're going to be on the historic Tattershall steamship on Sunday morning. It's going to be a live Q&A as well as a meet and greet. And we do have some tickets left. We sold out of the meet and greet, but we put a few more on sale. You can grab them at f4wonline.com/London, I believe is the address. Or you can go to wolivelondon.com. And Dave and I are going to be there, and you'll be out of there in plenty of time to still make it to the pay-per-view. So if you've got some spare time Sunday morning, come check us out.
Yeah, Q&A. The last one we did was the most fun Q&A that I've ever done. So I'm actually really looking forward to this one, and you can ask pretty much anything you want, and it'll be a lot of fun. For sure, it'll be a lot of fun.
And this time, you're on a boat.
I am. We're on a boat this time.
Yeah, so that's really
permanently moored. Thank God.
Yeah.
So it's not one you then take up to Wembley.
No, we're not going on a cruise this time.
No, that's pretty cool. You know, doing it on the boat. It's right across from London Eye, so you know, it's a pretty cool place if you just want to sightsee in the area right after.
So click the link in the video description down below to get your tickets, the remaining tickets for that Q&A. But yeah, we've got a 10-match card to go through today.
For now.
For now, yeah. They're going to probably add probably 3 more or so.
We were just talking before we came on air and while we were having our technical glitches that we reckon they might add another 2-3 matches to the pre-show.
They've add at least 2 matches to the pre-show. They got, you know, they're going to do, they said 2-hour pre-show?
2-hour pre-show, I believe it is, yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to wrestle for an hour of that. So you got to have at least 3. I mean, you could have 4. But you have to have at least 3. And we only have 1, which is the mixed tag.
Yeah. Right?
I mean, that's a long pre-show. It's not as long as that last WWE pre-show that went 3 hours. But I figure an hour that'll be talk, an hour that'll be wrestling, so...
Yeah, the first hour, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Well, they may throw an angle, because last year they did the thing with Jeff Jarrett and Grado and everything, you know, before the hour even started.
I nearly missed that.
Yeah, with Anthony Ogogo and everything.
We were at the pub.
Yeah, we were at the pub because they told us that the pre-show was starting at a certain time. So we stayed in the pub and then nearly missed most of the pre-show. I got in just as Grado made his entrance.
Yeah.
Right.
And all the Miro stuff as well. I think he had a match.
Yeah.
No, we had a contract signing.
With Powerhouse Hobbs.
Powerhouse Hobbs?
Yes.
Simon Miller was part of that.
Yes,
with Miro, yeah. They did so they did a couple of angles, and then I mean, for an hour, you know, talking for an hour, it's, you know, on a pre-show, is just a complete total waste of time. I mean, you can hype people for 30 minutes, but any longer than that, I think it's just way too long.
Also, you know, we're gonna have that maybe another hook match on the pre-show.
Another hook
match. He's
wrestling. Yeah.
He's wrestling. Yeah.
Let's go through this 10-match card, including that pre-show match, which kicks off with Chris Statlander and Tomohiro Ishii versus. I've written Chris Statlander here again. Sorry, it is Willow Nightingale and Tomohiro Ishii versus Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway. The winners of this match get to pick the stipulation for the CMLL Women's Championship match at All Out in 2 weeks' time.
So that is now another belt that's always in circulation in AEW.
You love having more belts.
Only for a little while.
Yeah.
Not permanent, but for right now, yeah.
Great.
You like having all the belts.
I think this is a good blood feud.
Yeah.
You don't need a title attached to it, right?
Yeah, but this wasn't supposed to have a title attached to it, but then Stephanie McCall couldn't do any more dates, could she? Because she's so busy with WWE right now.
Yeah, right. She's doing all these dates, yeah. Waiting for her visa.
Any big predictions for this? Who you got going?
I think, obviously, if you're doing the winner picks a stipulation, then the heels have to win. So I would presume
That would mean you need outside interference though.
you could
Because
you could do something.
because of Stokely.
I don't think Stokely's pinning Ishii.
No.
I would say that's unlikely, but I think that Statlander could pin Willow, and then she gets to choose the stip for the match coming up.
It's possible.
I said this yesterday to Tempest.
We have to make a pick here, dude. Can't say it's possible. We have to agree or disagree.
I wouldn't book it that way. I mean,
What do you think the finish is? Ishii pin Stokely?
I think that's what it should be. I don't see any reason. I don't see any reason for Stokely not to lose. But I think that like from a long-term booking, you would go with them. But you have to have a real good screw job, and it's got to be on Willow. I mean, because the rest of it doesn't work. I mean, beating Ishii doesn't go anywhere. I mean, Chris beating Willow. The only reason I would say Chris beating Willow is not a sure thing is because Chris just beat Willow, and Tony kind of likes to go back and forth. But Willow beating Chris makes no sense whatsoever. So on the other way, it would have to be Ishii beating Stokely.
Is that your official pick?
It looks like we're disagreeing here.
I don't, whatever.
I may be on Team WrestleTalk. What's your pick?
Well, I know. Here's my big wacky pitch for this match. I said this to Tempest yesterday, and he was not on board for it. Statlander hits the Saturday Night Fever on Ishii, and Stokely pins Ishii.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Should we lock it in?
I cannot have Stokely pinning
For the
Ishii.
chaos.
I'm fine with Stokely's
Literally.
team winning because he can brag about it.
But it's got
he can brag about it, but it's got to be their team won.
But you got to beat Willow.
Yes.
You got to beat Willow.
Statlander's got to beat Willow. I think we can agree Statlander's got to beat Willow at least.
I agree.
Okay.
Could Stokely pin Willow?
Because Willow beating
I don't think they do that.
Yeah.
No.
Willow beating Statlander makes zero sense.
No, that would make no sense.
Yeah.
All right, so you're going with... Do you want to go with my wacky prediction?
Yes, I do.
Great, I
I
like
don't
that.
agree with it. But
We have got...
Well, here's another problem with your finish is that...
there's many problems with that.
No, but Ishii doesn't sell pile drivers.
Oh. I had not considered that.
Yeah.
The neck.
The neck, he's too neck strong.
Yeah.
For the Women's World Championship, Timeless Tony Storm defends against Mariah May. I think we can be locked in this one.
Yeah, we'll go first. Mariah May, we're going to go for.
Yeah.
She's English, and sometimes that's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they did it for Saraya last year. Also, I think the story has been building to this point.
Yeah,
So
she needs it as well. Like, if she doesn't win here, it's not like she'll be called off, but she'll be helped a lot more than if Tony wins.
Yeah, I'm going Mariah May. We're going Mariah May.
I think Mariah winning is the most likely scenario.
It's the only one I would go with.
Yeah.
I'd go with Mariah May for sure because you want to keep it going. You don't want it to be one and done. If Tony wins, what's the point of a rematch? If Mariah wins, you can bring it back because they spent so long building this thing up. For it to be one and done would be ridiculous.
This is one of my most anticipated matches on the card. I thought the go-home angle was kind of weak because it was just Mariah hits her from behind and stands tall. But I think the build for this has been really good. I've really
a lot of the storyline stuff's been really good. I mean, it's one of the better long-term storylines they've done.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised there isn't more of a stipulation to it. I know it's the first time.
But it's the first meeting. They don't need.
Yeah.
They can build a stipulation matches later.
But it was such a bloody angle when the heel turn happened.
Yeah.
I'm sort of. Is it on me that I'm expecting violence?
But here's the
He
thing:
can bleed.
there's so many stipulations up and down the show. You don't need one for every match. This one should just be title and then do a finish that you can bring back.
Yeah.
That's all it should be.
I thought this was going to be a bloodbath match. I thought they were going to add.
Well, they can.
Well,
look,
you could either do a bloodbath, or you could do
you-
when the match is over, Mariah hits her with a shoe, blood, and then you could do a first blood match for stipulation.
Yeah.
Which I would not be surprised if they.
Okay, but
did.
First Blood would have been really bad for this show. I don't
Not
think
this show, but I'm saying down the
down
road.
the
Of course,
This sets up the first blood.
Of course you
match
could. Of
for
course you
later
could.
on.
Of course you could do a First Blood. Yeah.
For the TNT Championship, Jack Perry defends against Darby Allin.
I want to go first because I have a very complicated booking scenario here. So Darby has a TNT title shot and he has a world title shot.
Yes.
Correct.
And right now, the idea is the world title shot is coming at Arthur Ashe.
Yes.
Okay. My prediction is that Jungle Boy beats him. He throws him in the coffin, and then he lights the coffin on fire. Darby's burnt to a crisp. Darby can't make Arthur Ashe, so you do another deal there. And then Darby gets his title shot in Tacoma.
Oh, for
against Bryan Danielson, 2 hometown guys wrestle Dream in their hometown or their home state.
I actually like that a lot.
And so that's
I like that a lot
because
that's a good one.
They've done Fire multiple times. The new belt, Jack's new belt it basically looks like it's burnt to a crisp. You know, he did the whole thing. So I think that Fire is going to be involved here, and burning Darby, you know, burn him up in the coffin or whatever, puts him out of action. You have him come back for Tacoma, and you do 2 hometown heroes against each other for the belt.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
The only I like it. But the only problem is you got to do something really big for Arthur Ashe Stadium.
Yeah, you got to find something
because you've already advertised it, so you have to have something. You'd almost have to do. Who could Bryan Danielson go against? I mean, it'd have to be big. It'd have to be.
Well, he can go against the winner of the Gauntlet.
Okay, well then it'd have to be
if
big.
It'd
have to be somebody big.
Ricochet.
Ricochet would be big.
Yeah,
Ricochet would be big. But I think people would get mad at Ricochet's getting a title shot that 3 weeks in. So
but that's the gimmick. You win the Gauntlet, you get a title shot.
That's true.
Yeah.
So you're going with Jack Perry to retain?
I'm going with Jack Perry too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It also feels like Jack Perry, like he was gone forever. They bring him back. He won the TNT title. What has he done?
Yeah.
Like we've barely seen him.
Well, because they were just waiting for this match.
Yeah, so it feels like, okay, you did all that, you put the title on him, which by the way was something they built up because the Elite were going to give him the title. Then he was told he had to earn it. He goes and he wins it. So to lose it already, it feels like a completely wasted title reign. So I feel like he has to retain.
Yeah. I actually agree because I was going to say Jack Perry.
Yeah, I was going to say Jack Perry. Too early to take the belt off him. Darby's got other stuff he can do.
Exactly.
Well, the thing is, if Darby wins the title, then you've got Jack Perry can challenge Darby later in the year.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So it makes all for long term it makes sense.
The only way I could see them putting the belt on Darby is so you can advertise for Arthur Ashe World Champion versus TNT Champion and see if that might be. Well, I know it's not.
You don't need to do that though.
Yeah, then you just won the title just to beat him.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I can think of as a way to try and shift more tickets for that Arthur Ashe stage.
I don't think that even adds. I don't think that adds ticket sales for Arthur Ashe either.
I don't think it does either. But they keep putting title matches on TV as a way to boost ratings, and I wasn't sure if that was.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you don't overdo it, it's a good thing. And if you only have a certain number of titles, it's a good thing. If you've got 17 titles, I mean, putting a title match on TV isn't that big of a deal.
Can I put my suggestion forward?
Oh, please do.
Glass coffin.
Oh, God. No.
No?
Can't burn glass anyway. Well, you can, but it'd be a lot more difficult.
I could see them doing it. At least
there will be a reference from Jack Perry, surely.
Yeah. The thing I've seen people say most is that Sting is in one of the coffins.
Yeah.
That
could do that. Yeah,
that'd be cool. That'd be cool. Yeah. But you don't want Sting in there if Darby's losing. Yeah.
For the FTW Championship, it is Chris Jericho defending against the former champion in Hook, a feud that has been going on since February. The stipulation for this, I believe, is that if Hook loses, he's able to stop feuding with Chris Jericho.
But he can never challenge for the FTW title again.
As long as Jericho's champion.
I don't think he said that. That may be the stipulation,
No,
I think he just...
They think they said that. I think they did, yeah.
So,
regardless, I think Hook's winning.
Yeah,
I think Hook's winning too.
Yeah, I don't think this.
Which means Jericho gets a rematch.
Well, I said this to you on.
I think it's time to move on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I agree.
I think it's time to move on on that one.
I mean, I agree, but we've got to have the Joe return yet. We haven't had the trios match with Shibata either against the Learning Tree.
Well, that doesn't mean that they can't do those trios matches and everything later. And Joe is going to be back. Joe and Jericho makes sense when Joe's back, but I don't think he's coming back that early.
Yeah, because he's still filming Twisted Metal, right?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea how long he's filming that for. But we're all saying Hook?
I think we're all in agreement with that one.
Have we only differed on
I think we're going to be in agreement about a lot of these matches, to be honest.
Yeah. There are some coming up that I'm undecided on, which we'll get to momentarily. But it's the Young Bucks versus the Acclaimed versus FTR for the Tag Team Championship.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I think the Bucks retain.
Well, yeah, they've not done anything with them, and they're making those jokes.
It's the same thing with Jungle Boy.
Yeah,
it's like they won the tag titles, and then they took the summer off after, the War Games match. So
it's only 2 weeks.
I mean, they've been off TV. They haven't defended the titles.
They haven't defended the titles except for they defended them against the Acclaimed.
Yeah, I think. They had that one match. I think that Young Bucks retain. I think if Acclaimed is going to win the titles, it would be best for them to win it in a one-on-one tag match, 2-on-2, as opposed to the three-way. So I think Bucks retain.
The only thing I could see them going with the Acclaimed this time around is they were so over at All In last year that maybe there's this idea of, well, they'll be just as over this time.
Well, the problem is they're
round.
not over right now.
Well, that's the problem. They're not as over.
And I
this
think
time
they're
round.
turning heel too, so I could see them losing and then
Yeah.
flipping out and doing something to do to finish off the heel turn. They have to be turning heel.
That's you
I
said
mean,
that, didn't
they've
you?
stripped everything away from Max. He doesn't do the rap to the ring anymore. You know, they're doing the weird promos.
He's the best.
Calls
in the
himself the
world.
best in the world.
Best in the world
Yeah.
is so.
I mean,
it's so lame. It's so lame because we had on Wednesday's show we had 3 people who said they were the best in the world, and we had a world champion because MJF said he was the best in the world. Will Ospreay said over and over he was. Danielson said he was, and Strickland, the announcer should say Strickland is, because the champion should be considered the best in the world. And here you got Max Caster going out doing this as his catchphrase. And it's like, dude, you know, it's like this is not the night, and it's not not the promotion to be doing this catchphrase, and you're not the guy, you know. So I mean, I just thought that's, you know, he trademarked it, but I just thought come up with something.
Did he
better.
trademark it?
Oh yeah,
How can you trademark that?
he
Well,
did.
being the best in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
I think it's the
Wow.
best wrestler alive.
the best
Yeah,
wrestler
that's
alive. He
what he calls
trademarked.
himself,
Yeah.
But that's it. I think it must be a heel thing, right?
That's what I'm thinking.
Because
It
it's
could-
so,
it's
so
gotta be
not
turned
true.
It could be, but it's
No
it's like
offense.
it's just still, you know, it's like he's still not the guy. Like for a heel to say the best wrestler alive, you still have to be someone who's elite at the elite level. And like Jericho in WWF could have done that, right? I'm the best wrestler alive because grudgingly you hate him, but you know he is pretty damn good. I mean, not, you know, tag team guy who in this match, there's 6 guys in this match. He's the 6th best guy in the match. He is.
He is.
He should trademark that.
the 6th man. The 6th man. The 6th man.
So we're saying Bucks.
Yeah, I think it's because it's such a nice visual having the elite all with championships. You wouldn't want to get them off.
It's
so early.
early. It's early.
Yeah.
It's
It is
early.
early,
It's
yeah.
early to do it. Yeah.
You guys sticking with the Bucks then?
Mhm.
This is the one I'm unsure on. So it's the Trios Championship match. It is a ladder match, a London ladder match.
Those London ladders.
We're famous for them.
Do you know ladders in this country aren't double-sided?
Oh,
It's
like-
like
they're
only
just
in one-
single?
Yeah, they're just like
Yeah.
oh God, I hope that they don't try that.
They better get some. I hope they took that into consideration.
yeah.
But it is the Patriarchy defending their Trios Championships against the Bang Bang Gang, against House of Black, and, spoilers for Collision, Pac and Claudio and Yuta, the Black or the Pac Pool combat clubs, easy for you to say.
Sounds like you've said something offensive.
That's why I need to stop myself from saying it, just in case. So this is the one I'm unsure on, because this was originally, reportedly, supposed to be the Bang Bang Gang
Death Triangle,
versus Death Triangle, just as a straight trios match.
Yeah.
And then Lucha Bros are going across to WWE, so they've changed it into a
Well,
four-way match.
Penta says they're with AEW.
Oh, no, he's at present. He is
Yeah,
with
yeah.
AEW, but you know, let's see how
But-
long
but
that
That
lasts.
was at present a week ago.
but they're not even in the program.
Yeah. So
No, I mean in the sense of, did you hear about the program? The actual program they were selling in Cardiff?
Oh, no.
oh no.
Okay, they had pictures of 206 different AEW wrestlers, and Penta and Phoenix were not among the 206.
How is that so up to date? Yeah, the AEW.com roster page is like doesn't match.
I know it
reality.
still has Parker Boudreaux and people from
Yeah.
who've been long gone. I know. I look at that and goes, these people aren't even here anymore.
So I wasn't sure whether,
But they had Peter Avalon who made the cut in the program. He's in the program.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's how deep they go.
So I don't know whether or not, because this was originally supposed to be Death Triangle, and we're going to give Pac his Wembley moment. They
Yes.
really are.
And they have talked about the Wembley moment.
They do it a lot on Wednesday, Homer and Home, this Wembley moment thing. Whether you do the Pac Wembley moment in this match, or do you just keep on the Patriarchy because it's a really overact.
The thing is, you've got like Wheeler Yuta is in the match. He's part of the Blackpool Combat Club, but he would be a trios champion with a different group. It's just a really weird trio to have as your trios champions. It's like it's thrown together, and
You can do, with trios titles, you can do that
it
sometimes.
doesn't matter.
You can
but
do
I
that.
mean, you know, they just put the trios titles on the Patriarchy. They just started pushing Nick Wayne as the youngest AEW champion in history.
Yeah.
They did the angle where they put the belt on his mother, which is supposed to build to a Luchasaurus split. It's like you did all of that with. There's obviously a reason behind all of those things, and you're just going to beat him. So I
but the
think
Wembley moment.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's going to be a lot of Wembley moments. I mean, Will Ospreay's going to win, and
I mean, if I was doing it, I'd have a House of Black win, just because it just they've been sitting there doing nothing for so long, and they're an overact. But that's not my prediction. That's what I would do though, because it's like give them something, give, but I mean, I sort of understand that with the patriarchy and that storyline, it's a little early to do that. Maybe do something where you, but break those two teams off as a program. And, actually, I don't even think you need the other two teams. The Bang Gang are just, to me, they're just fillers in this match. And then the other guys were just thrown in at the last minute, and they aren't even a trio.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think it stays on the patriarchy. I didn't think that going in, but everyone's convinced me. So I just thought.
What did you think going in?
Well, I just Pac. Maybe it's because
Sure.
the hometown.
We got enough. We got enough. We got enough
home.
hometown wins on this show.
He's also not from London.
Yeah, well, the home country when it's all the same thing. Will's from Cardiff sometimes. I just don't get how you like a ladder match with 4 trios teams in. That's like a lot of other guys to eliminate to give enough time to climb the ladder.
I might also write as well.
Well, I don't expect Christian to climb the ladder a single time. Oh, yes. I don't think he's doing any climbing in this match whatsoever.
Or he just does the luchasaurus on the shoulders.
Yeah.
Yes,
deal.
something like that,
Yeah.
yes.
Because am I right as well? The rules of this is not just all 4 teams are going to be fighting in a match. It's entrance in. Because I think they said on Wednesday, it's like the last team. You got to wait until the last team is in before you can start climbing the ladder. Did I hear that right?
I don't remember hearing
I don't remember it, but I don't.
I mean, it's possible. He does all sorts of weird things.
That's
but,
it, right?
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
merge Casino Gauntlet and London
yeah,
Ladder.
because it's too complicated. Just do the ladder match.
Yeah.
It just be regular ladder match.
Maybe it's just because they've branded it a London ladder match.
Yeah,
So
London Ladder.
Maybe it's
Yeah.
just got it. I've now thought in my head it's got a stipulation to it on top of the stipulation of it being
Yeah,
a
the
ladder
stipulation
match.
is it's in London.
I
That's the
guess so.
stipulation.
So we need to come to agreement here because I want to go Pac and Claudio.
Well, okay, that's for the purpose of competition.
For the purposes
We'll
of
go
you guys
Pac and-
losing, excellent.
Oh damn, we chose that and Stokely Hathaway to pin Tomohiro Ishii.
Yeah, this is my revenge for that Survival series.
Up next for the TBS Championship, it is Mercedes Moné versus Dr. Britt Baker. DMD.
What's with the big sigh? This one's
No,
obvious.
I'm really into it. I really want Mercedes to retain.
I think she will.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Britt
Mercedes
Baker's
is-
not beating Mercedes.
Yeah. I think,
good.
I think Mercedes is retaining.
Yeah.
Well,
I thought the favourite was Baker.
the only way I could see Britt Baker winning is if Jamie Hayter's showing up. Because I could see that would actually make sense.
Yeah.
But other than that, especially since she stood tall on the Wednesday show,
Yeah,
so my gut is that Mercedes retains and Camille interferes, and Britt has to get somebody to back her up, which Jamie Hayter fits right into.
Yeah.
To me, that's a good storyline.
That was it for me. It was Baker standing tall, holding the belt above her head.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you ain't winning this Sunday. Like, there's no way you're winning this Sunday
Yeah,
now.
she can win it later though.
Yeah.
And in fact, I actually think she might.
Yeah, down the road, that's fine. But
I-
this show here, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I think that down the line she should win, but I think that down the line is 3 months at least. Somewhere there. Let's see, what's the next? Not the 2-week pay-per-view. So maybe like World's End or something.
I've really enjoyed this the build for this though, because I think
Yeah, they've done a good job.
I've
Yeah.
really enjoyed the Moné heel turn. It's working
I think they've
so
done a
much
good
better.
job, except for that one collision where Camille absolutely destroyed Britt in a fair fight, laid her out, left her for dead.
Well, they did the comeback this week, but
They
it wasn't.
did kind of a comeback. She did a high cross, but I mean, like,
Yeah.
I just watched the collision. The collision when I watched, I just was baffled.
No, I agree. I completely agree.
God,
No, I was
what are you
watching it
doing here?
when I watched it. I thought the same thing. I thought it was like terrible. Just
I figured that was
And-
being done for Jamie. Like it was to bring Jamie in as the equalizer.
But they didn't. She just got her revenge on this show.
Yeah, I
On
guess so.
Dynamite. Just did her high cross.
Also, she's like,
But I mean, if they do bring in Jamie though, then Britt has to win.
yeah.
Because- or else it's a ridiculous. Or else they shouldn't bring Jamie in on the show.
Well, we were talking before we came on air that my prediction for the show was on the pre-show. They would have Saraya comes out, lays down an open challenge, Jamie Hayter answers, and you just do it like a quick 3-minute Jamie Hayter squash over.
Yeah, you could do that.
Saraya.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Because there's something like that.
But I don't like debuting. I don't like bringing her back without in a pre-show match. That's just my gut. It's like I want her to come back with. If she's going to come back after being out for a year plus, I really want it to have a lot of impact.
You said in the first hour of the pre-show as
I didn't say in the first hour of the pre-show. You're now.
We definitely know.
You'd be at the pub.
I would miss it again.
Yeah, see it on Twitter. Like, oh my god!
I should have been there.
Yeah. Maybe like she could wrestle Anthony Ogogo. By the way, he's not advertised for anything.
No, he's doing a lot of.
We got a gauntlet.
Oh yeah.
He
It's going to be a 50-person gauntlet at this point.
No, he shouldn't be in the gauntlet.
There's
I mean,
a
he could.
lot of names that are going to be in this gauntlet.
Well,
it's
we don't know.
21.
Well, 21. There are 21. The rules are there are 21, but it ends at any time.
Yeah.
So this would have to be the first gauntlet where all 21 people come out.
Well, there have only been a
I think it
few.
will be.
See, here's the thing with the gauntlet I don't like. Okay, I actually like the gauntlet.
Well, the last one they did was
I
awesome.
like it, and I even like the rules where they just don't tell you anything. But to me, I think it's better for television because on television, it's like if you're expecting someone and they're not there, who cares? You're watching it for free on television.
Mm-hmm.
But in the build up to this show, I've had people throw out all of these names of,
And they're going to be
I
disappointed.
can't wait till Moxley shows up in the gauntlet.
And he
I can't
probably
wait.
won't.
And I'm thinking, I don't think Moxley's here this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And, there are other people are going to build up in their heads. They want this person in the
They
gauntlet.
want Mystico.
Yeah, they're not going to get him.
And I mean, maybe he should.
I mean, Mystico might be, but the point is, like, when you're buying a show, when you're paying for a show, when you're going to a show, and you don't know who's going to be in the gauntlet, you don't even know how many people are actually going to be in the gauntlet. There could be 6 people. I mean, there won't be because it's Wembley, but in theory, there could be 2 people, and first person pins the second person, it's done.
Yeah.
So I think no matter what happens, there are going to be people angry that someone they wanted in the gauntlet isn't in it.
Well, let's still go at the gauntlet now. Then we'll jump to the gauntlet now because
Oh, did we all agree on Monet?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll do the gauntlet now because I'm going to give you my pitch.
Okay.
Orange Cassidy.
To win.
Yeah. Goes in at number 1, wins from number 1.
And then he
Well,
has a shot at
number
Danielson.
one. Number one is actually a good thing, though. In this, not a bad thing.
Well, I like it. What I really like about being number 1 is it's a blessing and a curse because sure you're in the match and you're guaranteed to be in the match, but it also means you're in there for the longest time. But which I quite like as a bit of a stipulation, a bit of booking for Orange Cassidy, and it's perfect for Orange Cassidy. And I was like, okay, Cassidy's number 1, Ricochet's number 2. And that's how you do the debut of Ricochet. He comes out and you can do them dodes. And then you can have some people return. I think maybe like Jay White, possibly Adam Cole. I thought Moxley might have been one of them. But there's been a ton of names being sort of thrown out.
Okada, Claudio.
So yeah,
Claudio's in
Not Claudio.
Yeah, from what I gather, I think Okada is going to be. And I think Hangman's obviously in the match as well.
Yeah, Hangman's in for sure.
Well, that's Cassidy is a good winner, but I think Hangman Page, he's got so much momentum right now, him winning. The promo he's cutting.
You're forgetting about Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett is going to make sure he does not win that gauntlet.
Oh, do you think?
100%.
I could see that.
Oh.
Yeah.
To build to an actual big Jeff Jarrett
have him lay somebody out with a buckshot and then Jeff take him out and then somebody else gets the pin, but not Jeff. Jeff winning would be a terrible idea.
Not having Jeff win.
Yeah, terrible idea.
I mean, I would.
I mean, people would pop for it. I mean, in that sense, I just think that it's not the right move.
No, but I don't think Hangman's winning. That's why I've written him out.
You do? You don't?
No, I don't.
I don't
he's
either.
winning. Yeah.
I have a whole show long thing. So I think of the gauntlet. Hangman is in the gauntlet, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But nobody screws him. He just doesn't win. And maybe he even hits the buckshot. Somebody tosses him out, and then someone covers and gets the win. So Hangman has specifically said the only reason he's in the gauntlet is he wants Swerve for the title. Mm-hmm. So I think that he's going to not win. And because he doesn't win, that's his excuse for coming out and costing Swerve the title in the main event.
Right.
If I can't win the title from you,
I hate that.
I'm going to take the title from you. And then him costing Swerve the title sets up Swerve and Hangman at All Out.
Yeah.
Bryan wins the title. I know it's not your favorite way to do it, but
Bryan winning the title with somebody's help is just to me a terrible finish.
Is there anything you could do to equalize it a bit? Like someone takes out Bryan as well?
Well, you could do that. And he's
you could do something where like Hangman goes to take out Swerve, and then someone else tries to take out Bryan, and then they get taken out, and then those two guys.
You could do that, but that's to me. This match should not be overbooked.
Yeah,
yeah.
This is not an overbook. You know, like it's the world title match. It's this big climactic thing at Wembley. Don't make it a fucking WWE. Thing where you know what I mean. And it's not knock about WWE. You know what they did at WrestleMania because they had to do what they did at WrestleMania. But it's like. This shouldn't be that. This should just be Bryan Danielson should just win, and because once they muck up the finish, the Bryan Danielson win doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. So on the Casino Gauntlet, who was your name you had coming in here?
No, Hangman Page.
Have I talked you out of it now?
No.
Okay.
You didn't do any talking. You just said Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
Bryan's done more to talk me out of Hangman Page.
All right. I'll talk you into Orange Cassidy then, because then that's the match at All Out. Like the two matches they've not done for Danielson yet are Cassidy and Darby.
Yeah.
So you can do Cassidy at All Out and you can do Darby at Arthur Ashe.
or Tacoma.
Or in Tacoma, if you want to go with Brian's way of doing things.
Now, I will say, if you want to pick Hangman, the one argument I would make for Hangman is they could have Hangman win so that you presume Swerve is winning the main event.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that would then be a big surprise. Oh my God, you know.
And then they end up with Danielson and Page, and
it would be Danielson and Hangman would lose again. So that's why I don't like that necessarily.
Well, if you go with the idea that Page wins the title like 6-9 months from now, these losses are a good thing now.
Well, sure, but I mean, he's done so many jobs.
I know he has.
Doing another one, and then what do you do? I mean, what do you do? Okay, so let's say that Danielson wins, Hangman wins, and you do Danielson and Hangman it all out. When are you doing Hangman and Swerve? I mean, that's the match you've been building up for 6 months now.
Well, I'll tell you what you do there.
Full Gear on the
to
anniversary.
the point where people wanted that as the main event of this show.
No, but I tell you what you do. What you do that with that one. See, Danielson can retain over Hangman with Swerve screwing Hangman. Okay, you can do that. That's no problem. Okay, because it's not Danielson's title win at Wembley Stadium. It's just a pay-per-view match, and then that builds for Swerve and Hangman, and then you got where you're going, and then you can whatever you're going to do from there.
You could do that at Full Gear. Full Gear. So 1 year since the last one.
Yeah. But even the one before, you said that one's in Washington, so that would be
Tacoma.
Wrestle
Dream.
So that would be Swerve on home turf against Hangman.
They had a match at WrestleTalk.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, that was actually the first one, and it was
they did
the
rematch
bloodbath at Full Gear.
Yeah, it was a bloodbath. So, what's your pick for the Casino Gauntlets?
Ricochet.
That's a good pick.
You think Ricochet's
Oh,
going to
they're
win?
on the same page. We couldn't be further apart.
No,
if Ricochet shows up, that would be really good. And then here's the other one too. It's like Bryan Danielson and Ricochet is a match. I don't know if they ever. It's a match that's, as far as I know, have they ever done it? And if they did, it was so long ago.
Ages ago.
It was so long ago. So you can only do it once. And if you're doing it if you have the mentality that you want Bryan Danielson to go out with dream match, this is another one. So that actually makes a lot of sense to me. Is Ricochet?
Yeah.
Plus, you don't want him to debut and just be another guy.
That's true. Just some rando in the Gauntlet. That
some guy in the. Well, he wouldn't lose because only one guy loses.
Yeah.
But he was. But there'd be no impact. Okay, he goes in there, he does some new moves, cool. Yeah, and if he goes in there and he actually wins the thing, and he wrestles Bryan Danielson, that's like some cool stuff. I mean, I mean, I know that there's a certain weakness in him and Bryan Danielson because as a title match, to me, that should be. They haven't said where this one gets the title shot, right?
They just said it's a title shot. I think everyone's presuming it's All Out, but they haven't said it.
Okay, I guess you could do it at All Out. Actually, to me, Bryan Danielson and Ricochet should be a TV match, not a pay-per-view match. I don't like the idea because I don't think that Ricochet will sell to the masses a pay-per-view main eventer coming directly off WWE TV where he was a mid-card guy. Even though the AEW fans, a lot of the older fans will accept him to a degree because they know he's really good. I think that you want a little bit of time in AEW to transform him away from that WWE thing because you don't want it like, oh, this guy in WWE didn't do a thing. Now he's a main event world championship contender. To me, it's fine on television though. That's a cool match. And then have him look, even if he doesn't win the title, have him look freaking awesome in that match. And then, all that WWE is wiped off him because he just had this awesome match. So I like that for a TV match a lot.
So they're united. They're on the same.
Do you not want to go Hangman Page?
No, because I think Orange Cassidy's winning.
All right, I'll go Orange Cassidy then.
Okay, you sure? Because
Yeah,
you went with me on the.
I can go with you because you went with me on the pack.
Oh yeah, if you're willing to.
I will shake your hand for it.
Hangman Page.
Hangman Page. Yeah. I mean, I think you're wrong.
He could win.
So for the AEW American Championship, it is MJF defending against Will Ospreay.
To me, there's only one.
I mean, are we really debating this one here?
to me, there's only one finish.
Yes.
There's only one finish. There's only, you can do a million run-ins, but there's only one finish.
Yes. Tiger Driver finish 1, 2, 3.
I actually was going to ask you because you guys might know more about this than
I think. I will say this. I think Max should do the Tiger Driver first.
He could, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what? And Will kicks out? Or
Yeah.
And Will kicks out.
Oh,
Right at the end.
Oh.
Yes.
that's a big near fall.
And then and Will tries the Tiger Driver about 4 times and every time fails.
Yeah.
Until
Because
he
of his
finally
own head, or because he just
Well,
reverses?
first he needs to set up, but he can't bring himself to do it. You got to do that spot early.
Yeah.
Then something's going to happen where, okay, you know what? I am going to do this move. Like Max needs to do something.
Well, that could be where you have some interference to set up things down the road.
Something, yeah. And then he's willing to do it, and it gets countered, and then finally at the end he hits it.
Yeah.
I wonder
Because the whole match is built around the Tiger Driver.
Well, that's it. And I wonder if...
Or we could do even better. We could, instead of take the Tiger Driver out of the whole thing and build it around a necklace. Or a wristband. Or a wristband. A wristband, maybe.
So I wonder if... So Michael Oku's got a big weekend ahead of him this weekend. He's defending the Riot Cabaret title tonight. He's defending the British Heavyweight Championship tomorrow. He was just...
You want Michael to screw Will? Or
save
Will?
He's been part of this storyline. Because they did the angle at Rev Pro.
Absolutely.
They did show footage.
Okay. If we got to figure out who's the guy to help Max, but Will Ospreay being helped by Michael Oku, I think, is a great spot. Mm-hmm. I agree. I think it's a great spot.
What?
What about?
I was thinking the same.
What about Max goes for the pile driver, and Amira screws Max?
Oh.
Just as an idea, because he tried to do it to her.
I don't think it was shown enough on TV.
She hasn't
been like a big recognizable
She hasn't.
moment.
Well, I agree.
How much do you want it on TV for?
I want them to appear on Dynamite.
Well, he hasn't been on anything
the last Wednesday.
Well, he'll probably be in the Gauntlet.
I think he's doing the Gauntlet.
Yeah, I mean he should be.
Yeah.
I wonder what the match order is for all of this. Where do you put
Max
the
on first?
Do you think?
Oh yeah.
Is Max on first?
If he's not in the main event, he's going on first. I bet you anything. It's every single time.
Oh God, you know what's going to be terrible though? They may have like this incredible match, and then it's going to screw the next 3 matches.
Well, you'll have to go to ladder match second.
Yeah.
Because people will get into a ladder match no matter what, because they're going to do crazy stuff.
Yeah. Bring it back down with the Jericho match.
And the Jericho entrance.
Jericho and Hook, yeah. Britt and Mercedes semi-main, and I think obviously the Danielson match main event.
So a question I had for both of you, because you might be able to help me out with this. I had this idea in my head a couple of days ago. So when MJF did the Rev Pro show, he was doing all sorts of Hulk Hogan mannerisms.
Absolutely.
Came out in red and yellow. Yep. He was doing he did the lyrics to Real American as part of his promo. He was doing all the poses and stuff. And I was like, okay.
So he'll do a leg drop.
Well, he could do the leg drop, but he can't come out to Real American.
I hope not.
That's a Jim Johnston track, so they can't do that. But could he come out to American Made? Because that's a Jimmy Hart track.
Probably not, though.
No?
I don't think so. I
was trying to think if there was they don't have to go through
I think
WWE.
WWE would have gotten the rights to it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
That's what I was trying to work out whether they had or whether or not Jimmy just still has it.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that they own it.
Damn.
Oh, well.
It's a good idea.
Okay, here's the other thing, too, though. People want to hear Max's music. They want to sing Max's music when he comes out.
That's why you do it. The heel heat. So you don't get...
That's true. That's true.
You don't give them the satisfaction.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're all... It's Will, right?
We're going Ospreay.
Yes.
I think Will wins
so.
Yeah. So which brings us to our main event, and I think we know which direction you're heading for this, which is Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson for the AEW World Championship. It is title versus career.
As soon as they put the career on the line, they were telling you Bryan Danielson's winning this title.
Yeah, I agreed.
I mean,
reluctantly.
Well, here's the thing. If I don't see... Well, I mean, put it this way. I could see Bryan Danielson scripting this as his last match. I could see that. But to me, I don't see that. Like they're on last. I know that there's things you can do, and you can end the show with the Bryan Danielson farewell and blah, blah, blah. And that, you can do that. You can make it work. But to me, it works much better with a win.
The two theories that I've seen going into this are Bryan and Tony Khan have just been working us the entire time by saying, he's going to be retiring at All In, then be doing limited dates after it to make.
But now there's no limited dates.
Yeah, so there's either he's been working us with that, or Danielson has been working us the entire time. He had zero plans to retire, and he's actually going to win this title and hold.
I don't believe that.
I think what's happening is he's going to win the title, and then he's going to have limited dates after he loses it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah?
I mean, I don't think he's never wrestling again.
Well,
he's never once stated, I'm never going to wrestle again.
I will tell you that he has said many times that he wants to wrestle as long as, I don't want to say Masafuchi. There is a name that we brought up that he and I have talked about, but he wants to wrestle forever.
Yeah.
Eugene, he's talked about Eugene Nagata. Mm-hmm. That's actually one of his, role model things is, still at that age that Eugene Nagata comes out there and can do a good job. So I see
and this stip is not, I will never wrestle in AEW again.
No, I will never wrestle.
This is, I will never have another wrestling match.
Yeah. Right. So
I don't buy that for a second.
Yeah, but Swerve saw that on Dynamite. It was like, you'll get the itch and you'll come back to the ring.
I know.
Well, I mean, he said that, which I don't know why he said that, but you know.
Well, they said that because nobody believes that even if Bryan Danielson loses, that it's his last match. Nobody believes that, but they will believe that he won't wrestle for a couple months. You know, because here's the thing. You know, I mean,
lame.
No, I mean, you know,
if he loses, he needs to not wrestle again.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
He's not losing, so it doesn't matter. I think that's the gist of this.
He's not losing, but I mean, it's like fans. Okay, like this is a different generation of fans. Like when I was growing up in this situation, if he came back, even with Mick Foley, when he, you know, if they didn't want him to come back, Mick Foley's idea was, okay, not for like 3 years. Okay, I'll say I'm retired, not for like 3 years, and then he's back in like 6 weeks, right?
Yeah,
right. Which you know he was all conflicted about, but that and it wasn't his choice. They talked him into it, right? Because they didn't have WrestleMania plans, and oh hey, we got this idea, let's bring you back. But the thing is like because of how everyone has been taught in the last 20 years that all they want is for you to break the stipulation.
Yeah, like with Cody.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted him to break the stipulation.
Yeah, they were furious that he didn't.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the same thing here. It's like there's not one person who believes that if he's losing, he's going to adhere to the stipulation because they've watched WWE for all these years.
I know, but I also don't think Tony's a guy that wants to have stipulations that fans don't buy.
I do agree with you.
I don't think he's going to like authorize, hey, say this is your final match ever, and then we'll bring you back in 6 months.
Yes, but he's also getting more and more WWE advice from people.
He is.
And you know, from people in WWE, because when you're in WWE, that's the mindset. The mindset is the stipulation you break like as soon as you can.
Mm-hmm. But you think you're both going to say Danielson?
Yes. I think Danielson's winning.
Yeah, we're saying Danielson as well, I think, aren't we?
Oh, are we? I mean,
which means the whole thing hinges
100%,
on Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway.
No, Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, and Cassidy.
Orange Cassidy, yeah.
We went Hangman Page. We've got difference on the patriarchy as well.
Okay, so three differences.
Yeah.
Okay,
you have many opportunities to fail.
We do have some questions in from our audience. WrestleTalk.com/support. Please do get your questions in. Ding, ding, ding. And of course, please do get the last remaining tickets for Brian and Dave's question and answer session they're doing on a boat this time. On a boat in London on Sunday just before All In. So it's the morning of All In. So you'll have plenty of time to do that and get across for All In as well. But Hannah here says, it's wonderful to see two legends of wrestling punditry on the show today.
Oh, it's good to see. I didn't know that they like you that much.
Yeah. Home audience. You know.
Yeah, they really like us. We're on home turf. Ryan here said, awesome to see the Wrestling Observer team in the UK with my favorite YouTube WrestleTalk. Question for Dave. Is there any indication that AEW's future pay-per-views will stream to Max like Peacock with WWE?
It is certainly something that's been talked about. I don't know, you know, but there's obviously, look, there's two ways of doing it. You could either do it the way UFC does it, where the pay-per-views are being bought by WBD, put on Max, and then you know, with ESPN and UFC, it's been great for ESPN because they get that, you know, usually you split 50-50. If you buy at 100%, if you buy the rights at 100%, basically, like AEW, let's just throw out a number. Let's say AEW pay-per-views for the year gross $40 million. AEW gets $20 million of it. Okay, if you go exclusively with Max, and let's say Max pays $25 million, they would get the $40 million. So you're talking about a $15 million profit right there if you do it that way. So it's a great business deal, but it also is one of those things where does WBD want to guarantee them that $25 million to do it? Because if you guarantee them less, there's no point in taking it off regular pay-per-view. Or you could just go, we're going to make, $25 million in subscriptions, new subscribers for Max, and you might. That's the Peacock deal. Of course, ESPN, like I said, has made a killing on UFC pay-per-views, and Peacock is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions in debt every single year because of deals based on the idea that if we get this, we're going to get so many new subscribers, and they have gotten enough new subscribers, but I don't think that they made a profit at all on the WWE pay-per-views because they overpaid greatly for those rights. Mm-hmm. So WBD is not going to make the deal to overpay greatly. As far as will they do that, I think that it financially would make sense to do it the UFC way. Unfortunately for the consumer, they're not getting a break. I mean, the UFC prices are they're like up to, what is it, $80
$80 or something like that.
$80 now.
That's insane. We've got It costs nothing like that over here.
Yeah, it's like 20.
Like even the WWF pay-per-views back in the day, WrestleMania was like 20 quid.
That was the more expensive one. Then everything
Yeah.
else was like.
Well, isn't
15 quid.
AEW's like 20, right?
Yeah, it's like $20 on. Sorry, 20 quid on Fight.
We get it through Fight, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it 20 or is it like
Yeah, no,
40?
it's 20.
I think it's 20. Yeah.
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 Survivor 1993 says, Brian, which product was worse, WCW in 2000 or Russo era TNA?
Oh man, I would say Russo era TNA, but WCW 2000 was very, very bad.
Yeah.
But I watched WCW 2000 twice, and I went back and watched the first couple of years of like the Asylum era.
Yeah,
of
The early TNA pay-per-views were
absolutely
They were
bad
really
enough
bad.
that
they were really bad.
I made it a commitment to the listeners that we were going to go through the entire era of WCW, and I made it.
Mm-hmm.
I made a commitment. I was going to go through all of the Asylum years. I didn't make it. It was just like, I cannot watch one more of these. I cannot do it. I quit.
Yeah.
So that was worse.
I was very sad when you made the decision.
I'm sorry. I couldn't do it for my own mental health.
I remember going through it, and I like the only way I got through those original TNA pay-per-views was sit there and write comedy for 2 hours because the comedy was right there.
It was right there.
You know,
but
it was
after
very
a while,
easy.
it was just, I can't write anymore.
But it was just like every whatever it was Wednesday nights, right? I just
Yeah.
remember Wednesday night comedy night. You know, I'm just going through this and writing up comedy because it's the only way you could cover it. You know, without just going like, this is, you know, they're off the track. The thing that's so funny is that some of that was Jerry Jarrett. You know who?
Oh yeah.
You know, it wasn't just Vince Russo.
I think the problem too with that era when you watch it the first time is we had lived through this horrible WCW period, and then the invasion was absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
And then you watch the Asylum, and it's like it's really bad. But I've been watching bad stuff. Like I can tolerate bad.
Yeah.
But trying to watch it again in the 2020s when AEW is great, New Japan's great. After they got rid of Vince, WWE's last 2 years has been so much better. To try to go back and watch something that bad when there's so much actual good stuff, I can't do it.
Well, you know
I cannot do it.
That's the one thing that I think is so funny is there's a lot of like nostalgia where all this old stuff is great, but when I watch it, like even Attitude Era, it's not as good as now.
No, the Attitude Era was not that good. Like the main events were great, but the actual body of the TV show,
the personality,
the characters, yeah,
the personalities were great.
Yes.
And some of the promos were great, and some of the story, you know, I mean, the stories were even hit and miss, but the personalities were awesome. Okay, in the Attitude Era. But I mean, as far as like if you go back and like watch those Raws, they're not that great.
They're not that great. No,
2000 is like my peak. Like,
2000 is my favorite year.
Yeah,
it's 2000 WWF. Yeah,
yeah.
97 WWF.
97, I loved.
Yeah.
1997.
But there was
2000.
a lot of bad stuff that year too.
Yeah,
I just remember the great stuff with Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels.
I just remember Bret and Shawn
Undertaker,
every week going
LSL.
back and forth and with Austin and everything, and I was really compelled. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was watching I decided to go back and watch all the Raws from 2000 in order. And even then I'm watching it, I was like, man, a lot of the show isn't all that great.
Yeah.
It's like 90-second matches, ends in DQ,
Yep.
100 people run in.
Yeah. Yeah, but the one thing they did is they had like a lot of good comedy.
Yeah.
Which you know, usually when wrestling does comedy, it's not that good. But they had like, I mean, when I remember watching back some of the stuff like with Edge and Christian and everything and Kurt Angle, I mean, that was actually that's actually genuinely good comedy that we at a level that we do not get now at all. I mean, our truth is like, you know, the closest and even that close to them.
We just started a new Patreon series where we're reviewing Angle versus Joe and like their first 5 matches that they did.
Mm-hmm.
So we watched Genesis 06 recently to review it.
Brilliant show.
Reading through the Observer and the Figure 4 and stuff in your reviews at the time. And you said the nostalgia thing. I've got such nostalgia for that period of TNA because that's when I got back into wrestling. But man, some of it is real bad.
Yeah.
Because Russo has just come back.
Yeah.
And they've just signed Angle. And I'm like, man, some of this is like the LAX stuff where they were
it's
threatening
full on,
to burn
isn't
the American flag.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Jim Cornette stripped them of the titles, and the crowd booed Jim Cornette for stripping them of the titles.
Yes.
And I'm like, man, it's gonna go downhill.
Well,
fast.
but you know that was you know Russo was there to screw Jim Cornette like completely.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, well, we read that in the Observer that Kevin Nash was telling people he was angling to become the on-screen GM because he knew Jim Cornette was not going to be around much longer now that Vince Russo is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kevin Nash
Russo. I mean, like, you know, Russo was there. As soon as Russo was there, he was trying to, you know, he would be kissing Jim Cornette's ass, and you know, they both were fake getting along, but he would go to Dixie and just go, he didn't go like, we got to get rid of Jim Cornette. He would do, well, I need help. I need Ed back. And Ed won't come unless Jim Cornette's gone. So that's how he got rid of Jim Cornette without going to Dixie and going like, just fire Jim Cornette. He was a lot more whatever. And Dixie, whatever reason, she thought that Vince Russo was it. And I mean, the funny part is that, not for what they had then, Cornette would have been better than Russo. Which is not something like, Cornette wasn't any great shakes in Ring of Honor or anything like that. But for what they had then and what they needed, Russo wasn't the answer at all.
No. Mayor of Painesville Dan here said, hello Luke, hello Ollie, hello Brian and Dave. Such a pleasure to have you on here. I met Dave in Manchester in 2018. And Brian
2018?
Yeah, when did MediaCon.
That's right. I'm sorry. Because I remember, the thing that I always remember Manchester is seeing the Randy Couture fight in Manchester.
And I met Brian last year at the Rev Pro anniversary show. To this day, my favorite pictures. What is your favorite match from the 1970s?
Oh, wow.
My favorite match from the 1970s? Terry Funk against Jack Briscoe, Miami Beach, when Terry Funk won the world title. The only reason I say that is because as a kid, I would have been, I think, 16. Okay. When that aired on RTV in San Francisco, I just remember going to school the Monday after Saturday, and everyone came back and just like, it was a level of wrestling. It was Florida wrestling, and Florida wrestling was much better than Northern California wrestling. Not that Northern California wrestling wasn't pretty darn good, because it was, but Florida was a step higher. And everyone was just like, we've never seen anything like this before. So where I lived, that was like, the wrestling was so much of a higher level. I mean, we had seen, there's stuff. Look, I saw a Pat Patterson Don Morocco match that went 65, 70 minutes. An Iron Man match. They're one of the original Iron Man matches. That was freaking awesome. But it wasn't. This was more of this technical thing, and then the finish, which is the Briscoe goes for the figure four, Terry turns into an inside cradle. That finish has been copied 500 million times. Yeah, and it's
every
like
figure four I think I've ever seen.
Right, and it's like, Dr. Wagner Jr. would do it in all of his big matches because Dr. Wagner Jr. was such a big Terry Funk fan. So it's not only United States where it was copied, it's not only Japan that was copied, but even Mexico. So that's a match I would say.
At the Rev Pro thing, it's reminded me. I will tell the story on air. Last year at the Defy show that was on the Saturday, we saw you guys across the way.
On that thing, yeah.
I was too nervous to come over.
Yeah.
I didn't come over.
And I was too, but I did in the end, and I approached it. And you won't remember this and that's absolutely fine. I wouldn't remember me either. But I was like, I need to go and say hi to Bryan Alvarez because I've been listening to you guys since 2005. That was when I first signed up for the website and stuff. And I went over and I was like, I need to say something really cool. I need to make sure that Bryan Alvarez knows that I'm really cool. And I didn't think of anything ahead of time. So I just shook your hand and I was like, I loved your TNA reviews. I'm like, you idiots. Like, everyone says that. Like, you idiots. Why didn't you think of something better to say? And I walked away being like, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said hi.
Luke frequently mourns about that day.
Oh, no. I'm glad you appreciated my TNA reviews. Because if I did those and nobody appreciated it, I'd be very, very upset.
We've got Sheldon Jackson here said, I think they should have Michael Oku help MJF and then a reunited Aussie Open come out to counter MJF and Michael Oku to reunite United Empire and have that in AEW.
I think that's good if people have watched every single thing outside of AEW, but that might be very confusing to a casual viewer.
Mm-hmm.
That might be okay for Rev Pro. But I don't think people know. I mean, but you know what? You could do it. You could do it. I mean, you could do it. I mean, it's you could, and then tell the story afterwards.
Especially with the Fletcher stuff on TV.
Yeah.
Charles
Berg here says, question for Brian and Dave. What is your favorite sandwich?
Sandwich?
Yeah.
I don't eat a lot of sandwiches, but I like a good turkey sandwich, roast beef sandwich.
Tuna.
Very nice. Brett here said, it's so awesome to see Dave and Brian in the WrestleTalk studio.
So if you would have come up to me and Defy with that question, that's something to be embarrassed about.
I don't know. I'd have said at least that's different.
Yeah.
Rather than come up to you and be like, I bet you everyone says this every time. Anyway.
It's okay.
I haven't been asked what my favorite sandwich is. That is true.
Brett here said, I have a question for the four of you. What do you think AEW can do to gain and build up their audience more? Why is WWE hot right now and AEW is cold? Love listening to all of your stuff.
Do we have another hour?
In the history of wrestling, in every promotional war, they usually go a couple of years and one side wins. And the side that wins is the one that has the most named talent. It always is that way and has the most exposure. I mean, I could go back and tell you a story Paul Bosch told me when he was in Los Angeles in, I don't even know what decade it was, but I'm going to guess 40s, 50s, probably before the 50s, probably 40s. And they had a promotional war. And he told me that the company that he was with had the bigger stars and the other company had the better wrestling. And he said that we were sitting there going like, they got all these good wrestlers. We're going to die. And this is before television. Mm-hmm. They didn't, because I remember him telling me, but they didn't have television. It's all word of mouth. Because all the wrestling was word of mouth. And you had the newspaper stories, but the newspapers were covering all wrestling as the same. So you didn't even have that advantage. And he just said that, like, when people go to their shows and see the quality of guys they have, we're going to die. And he goes like, they never picked up. And it's like, we realized we have the stars, and it doesn't matter if the matches are good or bad. We have, and then they didn't do angles in those days. It's all about star power, and it's always been. It's about star power. I mean, you can screw it up and all that, but at the end, AEW did really, really well in competition because they were new and fresh, and nobody had ever seen.
And the other side sucked.
Yeah,
the other side was weak. Which is also the same thing with WCW when they came up. But WCW's difference was WCW had the star power. AEW, while the stars are great, they are not the stars to the mass of people. If Tony Khan had gotten Brock Lesnar and John Cena and Roman Reigns all together and they came over, he'd probably win, in time. But he didn't and he couldn't. And that's the main difference between the WCW era where they could get Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Roddy Piper, blah blah blah, over. I mean, now, Hulk Hogan being the key by far, and, Hall and Nash too. But there is no Hulk Hogan. I mean, the last Hulk Hogan was The Rock and Stone Cold. And if Tony had The Rock, he'd probably be winning too. But he didn't. So, yeah. So, I mean, it's like, there's nothing that they can do other than make money being number two if they can. And
well, that's the whole thing. I mean, they don't need to win.
No.
And I think the main thing that they need to do is worry about AEW.
Yeah, of course.
As opposed to, okay, we're in this war, we're going to.
But WWE is still, it's like it's still a thing in the sense that the average person who only has a certain number of hours that they are going to watch wrestling, they are going to watch the coolest looking wrestling.
And that's fine. You can be the best number two.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with being the best number two.
But you have a ceiling as number two.
That's fine. But you can still be a huge success as number two.
You can be a success now because of TV rights.
And trying to kill yourself to be number one, I mean.
They're not even trying to be number one.
You don't need to do that.
If Tony was trying to be number one, he would be spending so much money on production that he's not. I mean, he's trying to be a helping.
Well, we'll see what happens after this TV deal. They'll probably be spending a lot more on production.
Well, we'll see. Well, then they can afford it at that point.
Yes.
So that's not a bad deal. No, that's not what I mean. But I mean, he'd be going into deficit spending if he got this new TV deal and he said, in my mind, I'm going to be number one. He'll go back into deficit spending to be number one.
Yeah.
If he goes in here and goes like, okay, I got a good crew. This is the best. I mean, I can expand and do this. I'm going to do this well, and but I can't be going and chasing them because that's the only way he can lose is to chase them. Once he gets his TV deal, he's a winner. He's a winner with this TV deal as long as he doesn't overspend.
Yeah.
Sat here says, Brian, if hypothetically you had a negative star-based rating system, how would you rate the Asylum years of TNA? Although we know that you had a negative star rating system.
Oh yeah, I've given many negative stars.
Yeah,
I mean it was heavily into the negative stars. It was extremely unwatchable.
The one thing I remember about that era though is that AJ Styles, when those guys came in, they were actually like
AJ was really good.
They were wrestling at they were doing stuff that the WWE wasn't doing.
Yeah,
I really liked a lot of their stuff. That stuff, but that was such a minor thing. People sometimes like romanticize about that being so great, but it was a minor part of the show. If that was the whole show, and I mean, remember people talking like, why don't they do the whole show X Division? It's like, but the problem is that the guys who were on top didn't believe in it. They just thought that it's a nice bone to throw for some people, and that was
also sometimes it'd be 2 hours no commercials, And sometimes you would watch like an hour and 40 minutes of just an atrocity. And then they would throw out this great main event with Amazing Red and AJ Styles, which was like a fantastic match. But after an hour and 40 minutes of the first part of the show, you're just watching the thing going, oh my God, like, this is great, but can we just get the show over with? It was not enough.
Spectre here says, I feel like MJF retained. Daniel Garcia was built up so well to be shoved aside during Max's heel turn. Garcia should be the one to take the strap off of MJF.
No, not happening.
Will Ospreay's got way more upside than Daniel Garcia.
I think so too.
Really, this company is going to be built around Will Ospreay and Max. I mean, if you really think about it, I mean, in some ways, this, if it wasn't for the retirement stipulation, this would overshadow the main event. The retirement stipulation and going last and everything will be the overriding thing. But I mean, I look at this thing, it's like, Danielson's temporary. It's Will Ospreay and Max are the guys who are going to be the stars of the company.
The other thing too is when they booked that Daniel Garcia thing, they did that because he may not have come back.
Yeah.
And so you're not booking the destruction of Daniel Garcia and with the idea that he may not come back, but also if he does, it's going to be the pivotal moment in this and he's going to go after MJF afterwards. Like they had a plan for MJF and Ospreay that did not involve Garcia.
Okay, but Daniel Garcia now could be the guy at the end. Like if it's whoever it is that helps Max, right? Daniel Garcia can be the guy at the end. And actually would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, he could screw MJF. Yeah.
Yeah. And then go on to Max and
you could do Max
and Daniel Garcia for a little while.
Yeah.
And lastly, here from J3 Mancini says, would you have Ricochet come in to cost Ospreay?
You could. I mean, that's a viable one. But I
would not do that.
But I wouldn't do it.
No. I think that
I will say this that you could do something with Ospreay and Ricochet, but I think one of the things about AEW that I am very critical of is anybody you bring in is going to be a babyface when they first come in.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing with Okada. It was like they brought in Okada.
He's still a babyface. He was a
that's the
babyface
point.
against Claudio.
They brought him in and they immediately turned him heel.
Yeah.
And it was like, he's not going to get booed. He's still not getting booed.
Yeah.
They brought back MJF and they wanted him to go heel, and the fans cheered him like crazy, forced a babyface turn.
Yeah.
Britt Baker, obviously she was gone forever. She was going to be over as a babyface. You don't want to turn her heel. Yeah. So Ricochet debuting, he's coming from WWE. He chose AEW over WWE. The AEW fans, the moment this guy comes out, massive babyface. To immediately try to turn him heel.
Well, the thing is Will Ospreay and Ricochet doesn't even work as babyface to heel. It only works as a match. I mean, that's
as far as just the match quality.
It's the way the program is. That program can't be. I mean, you can do babyface heel, but you're only going to take away from it. I mean, I saw them wrestle over and over and over again, and it was never a babyface heel match. It was just a match.
Yeah.
And the people cheer both sides, and that's okay. Like, you wouldn't want a whole show of that, but in that specific feud, the idea should be that it's who's the better man and all that. And then when it's over, there's the mutual respect, and then they can even be a tag team or what, you know what I mean? I'm going to talk about a long way down, but I don't think but I don't think they should go. I don't think they should go to Will Ospreay and Ricochet like right away. I think they should make the people want it bad, still not give it to them, and then finally give it to them. And we're talking like 6 months down the road or more.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, I wouldn't want to go right to that because then it's kind of like you're burning through something that's really good. And like give people tease, like they can even help each other and stuff, or interfere in each other's matches and do stare downs and stuff. But, you do something where it's like Ricochet has to earn it. You know what I mean? We're not giving this to you. And, eventually, when you're going to get it down the line.
Well, just before we get out of here, please do click the link in the video description down below to get the last remaining tickets for Bryan and Dave's Q&A session, and of course sign up for the Wrestling Observer newsletter and Figure 4 and all of that good stuff. But before we get out of here, we do have one clip that we'd like to show you, a trailer for the latest episode of Worst Match Ever that was picked specifically because it's a match that you did not like, which was...
It was a bad one.
Masquerita Dorada and Octagon Cedo versus Pequeño Halloween and Raka Khan. Here is a clip of that. Look out for the worst match ever, and by its very definition, the best worst match ever. It's got a real mid-2000s vibe to it, hasn't it?
Oh, for sure, for sure.
You mean being in the Impact Zone? And here's the star of the show. Masquerita Dorada.
Yep.
Future El Torito. Oh my god!
Absolutely clobbered him.
Oh,
What's going on
Okay,
here?
I don't remember this bit.
What's going on here?
Tony
Why is
Hawk's
there
at
a
ringside.
why is there a painting going on?
And why is somebody just witnessing the painting?
Oh,
F***ing
what
hell!
was that?
He needs a throat.
Oh wait, it's Rebby Sky.
Why was the painting never explained? The way we didn't see the painting. What was he painting?
Go and watch that right now. Our moderators are putting a link for that in the chat as well, and we'll have it in the video description. And you can get your tickets for Bryan and Dave live on a boat. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you so much, Bryan and Dave, for being here on the show today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's been awesome having you in the studio. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We will see you guys back here on WrestleTalk over the weekend. We'll certainly be back on Monday.
We've got a video essay on Bray Wyatt's legacy tomorrow, and then we've got a bonus WrestleTalk extra on Sunday, and then we're back on Monday to review all of All In.
That's right, yeah. So we've got a lot going on, so please do subscribe to the channel and enable notifications and all that good stuff. Leave a comment down below. Thank you so much for joining us. I've been Luke Owen at DAD. That has been Oliver Davis. That's been Dave Meltzer. And that has been Bryan Alvarez. Jam that jam, everyone.